Earnest Podcast, Episode 3. High Earnest Podcast, Episode 3. This podcast is a home for bold thinkers, creative builders, and unapologetically authentic hustlers who refuse to shrink themselves to fit anyone's expectations. Each episode celebrates entrepreneurs and business professionals who are honest about who they are, even when industry norms and societal pressures tell them to tone it down. Listeners will hear real, candid conversations about building businesses, navigating careers, and creating wealth while staying true to personal values, lifestyle, and identity. From cannabis founders and investors to professionals thriving in traditional spaces, every guest shows what it's like to succeed without hiding their full self. If you believe authenticity is your greatest asset, enjoy thoughtful conversations with a 420 friendly vibe, and want to see what's possible when people show up as their whole selves, this podcast was made for you. So tune in, light up if you choose, and get inspired by stories of individuality, resilience, and success on your own terms. Welcome back, everybody. Wherever you are tuning in from, remember the podcast is available on all platforms. So wherever you're hearing this, welcome you all back. And today is a special day, a special podcast. Why is it special? What's different today? Because today this podcast is going to be all about the you, baby. All about the you. Yeah, so let me go ahead and take a little minute to do this really quick. Go ahead and put the hurricane warning up. All right, because it's only right. It's only right. There we go. Now it feels good. I got on my Hurricanes gear. If you can't see what that say, it says hurricane, spelled Champion. Hurricane. Anyway, really, shout out to the you. A lot of people tried to count them out. A lot of people didn't believe this year. You know, it was a lot of talk. But I'm proud of them, proud of the home team, proud of them coming on home, and not being sent home, but coming home to bring the natty home. Shout out to the U. Good job, fellas. Good job, Coach Mario Cristobal. Good job to all the alumni who are walking the sideline, who are showing these young men what it means to be a University of Miami Hurricane and what it means to be a champion, and how to get to a championship. And most importantly, shout out to those young men who are putting their bodies on the line and giving their all week in and week out to make it to this point. Regardless of the outcome, congratulations, you all have made the city proud, and we're going to come out and support. I encourage the city to go out and support. I already know that's going to happen. They're doing such a great job. So shout out to those young men. Stay focused. You got one more to win, one more to do. And, you know, high tide raises all ships. High tide raises all ships in the harbor. So y'all get ready. Get ready for what's to come with it. All right? There's a few things I want to talk about when it comes to this national championship and the U and us playing in the championship. There's a few things. So there's one thing I want to get off my chest, man. All right? Let's talk about these fans. You know, everybody think they're a fan now. Everybody in the city is a fan now, right? Let's talk about who's not allowed to be a fan, okay? If you're from Miami, but all on Facebook, the past few years, you've been posting nothing but Florida State this, University of Florida Gators that. Look, man, don't come home now. Stay over there where you was at. Go ahead and keep on being the Nole. Keep on being the Gator. You know, we don't need y'all coming home now, buying up all the merch. You know, I went in TJ Maxx, Ross, Burlington the other day, thinking I can get me some more U merch. It's all gone. You know what this is, man? These fake fans coming up all of a sudden, trying to grab their merch. Or they grabbing all the merch. And then it's also them everybody buying it up and gonna be selling it on the streets. Also, man, if you went to any of the following schools, you are not a University of Miami fan, okay? FSU, that's Florida State, University of Florida, Florida Atlantic University, UCF, that's University of Central Florida, and University of South Florida. You are not a Canes fan, okay? Rep your school. There's a few schools that get a pass. FIU, yeah, we give y'all a pass, all right? FAM, of course, y'all get a pass, and Bethune, y'all get a pass. Y'all can cheer. Y'all can cheer. Y'all can get your merch. Y'all can be a fan, all right? Also, if you from Miami and you went to school out of state and that school was not an HBCU, stay over there. Don't come home now. I mean, you can cheer, but don't buy up all the merch. Don't show up to the tailgate taking up all the parking spaces. Leave that for the diehard fans. All right. All right. It's been a real good season, man. It had a lot of doubters. There was a lot of disrespect. And I don't understand it, because early in the season, they was talking about how we were one of the more potent offenses, one of the top offenses, had us ranked in the top. We were top 5 at some point. And then towards the end of the season, these analysts and talking heads all wanted to find a way to keep us out of the playoff in favor of Notre Dame, who we beat in the head-to-head. Now, how that makes sense? It makes no sense to try to keep us out. You know, because I'm looking at the record, right? And I think that 2-loss record they tried to hold against us, and that 11-2 record really does not tell the whole story. 10-2, those 2 losses does not tell the whole story at all. Because if you look at those 2 games that we lost, we really should have won those games, especially if you go back and watch that Louisville game. Those refs made horrible calls that swung the momentum. Not only did it swing the momentum, but it put us in a position where we were fighting against the clock as well. So once everybody knows, if you know situational football, and when you're down with time running out, you have to pass the ball. And our running game is one of our strengths. That O-line in our running game, once you take that away, because we have to pass the ball because of being down with time running out, it makes you a one-dimensional team. And that really helps out the opponent. And the way that happened, if you go back and look at that interception where we were driving down the field, that interception was a obvious pass interference by one player that prevented Malachi Tony from making a play on the ball. Okay, so if that pass interference doesn't happen, Malachi Tony is able to make a play on the ball, and that safety is never able to come over and pick that ball off. So that is a huge swing. So even if Malachi Tony doesn't catch that ball, even if it's just an incomplete, we probably still get 3 points. Or if the penalty is called, we get a first down, 15 yards, and we're really in field goal range. You know, or if Malachi Tony is able to make a play on that ball and catches it, then we're close to the red zone, we probably score a touchdown. All of these are points that are taken off the board and keep us trailing with less time to score points. That's one call, all right? I understand, you can't control the refs. You don't want to leave the game in the ref hands. But it's certain calls that put you in a point where your offense is not able to overcome it, or where your team isn't able to overcome it. And there was not only one, but 2 blatant misses by the referees that we just could not overcome because of that. The other one was the obvious. the punt return by Malachi Tony that would have went for 6. That was a clear, going to be a touchdown. They called it back and said he called for a fair catch. Replay clearly shows he never called for a fair catch. So those 2 plays ended that game for us. So even if we just get that one, right? We're a 1-loss team. Nobody's talking about keeping us out. Now, the other loss to SMU, I get it, it's SMU. It was an overtime loss. We shouldn't have lost it. There's a lot of mistakes on our end. But those are 2 losses by a combined total of 9 points. 1 was to the refs, and 1 was a very close game in overtime where it was a blown coverage. We should have won. But, you can't make mistakes like that. But if you're looking at that, we could have easily been an undefeated team. Nobody's talking about us not making the playoffs. Excuse me. All right, so let's just talk about that. That's, first of all, get that out the way. Then, just the 11-2 record, it does not. The 2-loss season does not show how good we are. We have one of the best defensive lines. Our defense is smacking. The boys are coming out and hitting. That offensive line is nasty. They're pushing people off the ball. Fletcher's toting that ball. Malachi Tony, one of the most electric, probably the most electric offensive player this season. And even on the defensive side, young Bryce Fitzgerald out there doing his thing. Everybody's doing their thing, man. But not only was it disrespect, them trying to keep us out. Once they let us in, my uncle came down a few weeks ago. We were talking about who was going to win the Heisman. And he was very big on the Texas A&M quarterback. He's saying that he thought he was going to win it when they had that comeback. And, we was talking about who was probably the favorite to win the national championship. And they were talking about Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Indiana. And I said, I'm just over there like shaking my head because of the disrespect. And I told them, they done messed up and let them Miami boys in. And they started laughing. And then he goes back and said, well, y'all got to play Texas A&M, right? Like, yeah, that's who y'all got. And I said, yeah. But they done messed up and let us in. Nobody wants to play us. Nobody wanted to play us because we can beat any one of them teams in the playoffs. And let's look at it. Let's look at the route we had. We had probably the toughest route to the national championship. Texas A&M first. The bookmakers had us as an underdog, 2.5-point dog. And what did we do? Go ahead and tell them, Mike. We put belt to ass. Yeah.
That's what we did. We came to put belt to ass.
They better stop disrespecting us. Then they even doubled down. It was, okay, y'all got one. Very next game, Ohio State. They thought Ohio State was going to blow us out. They had us more than a touchdown underdog. They had us as a 7.5-point dog, saying they're going to beat us by more than a touchdown. That means that they don't think it's going to be close. They're going to blow us out. What did we do? We went there, and again, we put belt to ass. Tell him, Mike.
I told y'all not to come to the stadium. Do not tell y'all not to come to this stadium. Don't come back. No. Oh, that's good, baby.
And then, after beating 2 dominant teams, Texas A&M, SEC team, Ohio State, the defending champions, after beating those 2 teams, facing Ole Miss. Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin, they still had the nerve to make us an underdog, 3.5-point underdog. And what did we do? Yet again, we went in and we put belt to ass.
It's time to give a little, Didn't we tell y'all not to mess with us? Didn't we tell y'all not to mess with us? Yeah, we are going to the championship game. Let's go, you! We're going to a championship game. Yeah!
After all that, these teams that we showed that we can match up with and play, like, first, they're trying to say that we weren't good enough to make the playoff. We ran through them 3 teams. And now they got us starting. The line opened up as a 7.5 point underdog to Indiana. The betting public has then moved the line up to 8.5, almost 9. 8.5, 9, depending on what books you're looking at, which is crazy. So y'all really thinking that this team is gonna come in and beat us by more than 2 scores, by more than a touchdown? It's so disrespectful, so disrespectful. But guess what? The boys are coming home, and I be damned if these young men gonna come home and let some Indiana Hoosiers that ain't been relevant since Bob Knight and throwing basketball chairs across the floor, come in to the Hard Rock Stadium and beat us. I know Michael Irvin gonna give them a nice pep talk about that and not let that go down.
Nobody believes in you. What are you prepared to do about it? Don't let no one come into your house, take your meal, do what you need to do today.
All right. But in all seriousness, yeah, they can't let that happen. But in all seriousness, shout out to the U. Thank you all for putting on for the city. Shout out to these young men that are staying home and doing it right, building up the program, bringing us back to relevance. Win, lose, or draw, we're proud of you all. Excited to see what unfolds on the game as well. Can't wait to see us run it back next year. But come Monday, we know it's a big time in the city. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Know the parade is going to be crazy. Everybody getting ready for the U to win the championship later that night. So I plan to be at the parade. I know everybody going to have the donks out, the 4-wheelers and dirt bikes, bikes up, guns down. Shout out to my boy Screamer, rest in peace. I know the bikers, they going to show out for Screamer. Then moving on from Martin Luther King Street, 62nd, Martin Luther King Boulevard, 62nd, coming all the way back up to 183rd, my neck of the woods, Miami Gardens Drive, Carroll City, Hard Rock Stadium, where the Canes gonna put on a show. Everybody bring your belts, bring your Dolphin belts, and be ready to leave some marking on some Indiana Hoosier arse. All right? One thing I want to talk about, though, by now, I know most of you already heard about the young man, Bryce Fitzgerald, being robbed at gunpoint at the house party. Come on, Miami. We got to do better. We got to do better. Shout out to OG Gigavelli. I know he's leading the cause to try to get the chain back. He's a respected figure in the streets. Apparently, there's been some leads that know who's responsible for it, and they're trying to get it back to him. Come on, city. We can't do this to these young men that are out here deciding to stay home. Stay home and put on for the city. They could have went anywhere, but they stay home, bringing revenue to the city, putting on for the University of Miami, and y'all go out and do this. They could have went anywhere, other places that ain't having this problem. And y'all deciding to do this. I can see if he's in the streets, you know, the street code, you know, the Jack boys gonna run crazy, gonna do their thing. But you don't take from a man that's working hard, from a hardworking man that works hard to build something. You don't mess with that. And I can see if he out there in the streets doing, you know, doing wrong and all that, you know, it's fair game. But, you know, I hear Florida City is a lawless area. So I mean, you got to know where you at and what you're doing. And also, this got to be a lesson to these young men. I know y'all out there making this NIL money all of a sudden, but y'all got to be smarter. Y'all got to use this as a lesson that when you're going out to these places like that, these house parties and all that, these ain't clubs that got security and cameras and all that. These house parties, that's the wild, wild west. So y'all got to know to leave that show and tell at home. Y'all ain't got to take that drip everywhere, man. Y'all take the drip for draft night. Take the drip when you go into a special place with your lady, or when you go into a official nightclub that's gonna have security and cameras and all that. But to go out there with that kind of drip that this man had on to a house party, you kind of asking for it. But you know, it still shouldn't happen. But I'm thankful and grateful that it didn't turn out worse, that nobody got hurt, that nobody got injured, nobody lost their lives, and that it's just a chain. Hopefully we're able to get it back to them, that the streets do the right thing, get it back to them. And, you know, I don't wish jail on nobody. Apparently they trying to work it out to get it back to them without getting the cops involved. But when it's something like this, do we really need to be protecting those type of people? It's just a question, you know. You know, it's not like they robbing the Jack boys or robbing the dope dealers. They're robbing young men that are in school, that are working hard to get where they at, you know what I mean? So that's still a thing, but just hopefully he's able to get the chain back before the game, or whenever he's able to get it back. Hopefully he's able to get it back. But just let this be a lesson to the young men everywhere, man. Not everybody is happy to see you shining. So you got to be aware of your surroundings, keep your head on the swivel, and know when it's time to step out and put that drip on and show off and be, you know, be that person, and know when it's time to be low key. And house parties, there's a little time to be low key, man. You already got your name. People know who you are. That's enough right there. You still a man in the spot. You show up when you that guy. You ain't got to put everything on. You put everything on when you around 100 guys that are that guy. You know what I'm saying? That's when you put that shit on. When you showing up to the award ceremony, when you showing up on draft night. You know what I'm saying? That's when you put that drip on. But the house party, man, you show up to a house party, you already know that you one of few to do what you do. You know what I'm saying? I know if I show up to a house party, I know when I walk in at 6'8", all eyes on me the minute I step in. You know, I ain't got to do too much. You know, that's just a little thought to y'all, man. But with that said, it's gonna be a short episode. I think we about did it. It's all about the you. Shout out to them boys. Y'all go ahead and bring it home. Oh, one thing, man. I almost forgot, man. Can we talk about what's going on with Sebastian the Ibis? I think it's time to start that discussion where Sebastian, you may as well go ahead and let Playmaker take it from here, man. Yeah, Playmaker got it from here, Sebastian. Sebas, you know, we can still use you at the basketball games, the baseball games, the women basketball games, you know, all the other sports, soccer and all that. But when it comes to football, I think Playmaker got it from here. Playmaker got it from here. We can go ahead and let Michael Irvin take that. And the crazy thing, we might only have to pay him in cocaine.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
So with that said, y'all, it's been real. Tune in Monday for the national championship. Everybody who's gonna be at the parade that day, it's gonna be a long day. So I hope y'all are ready. It's gonna be a long, exciting day. Some of y'all might have to call out Tuesday morning because it's gonna be a long day. I hope y'all ready. From the parade to the national championship, the tailgate, the after parties. Let me know where y'all watching the game at. All right? Are you going to the game? Let me know if it's any tailgates I'm invited to. Drop them in the comments so I can pull up. Who gonna be at Studio? I'm pretty sure Studio 183 having a watch party. Shout out to Freezy. Shout out to them Chiefs as well. Shout out to the 2025, 2026 commits that are going to be joining the Canes next year. Shout out to them boys in the transfer portal that are coming over. But really, Monday's going to be a long day. Y'all go ahead and y'all might need to start hydrating right now. Get your IVs, getting ready. Because I know that Martin Luther King parade is going to be crazy. Can't wait to get me some conch fritters and conch salad. All right. I know the ride outs, the donk riders, bikes up, guns down. The ride gonna be crazy. And I know the tailgate gonna be crazy. Tailgate gonna be crazy. And the game's gonna be exciting. The after party's gonna be exciting. Let me know where the after party's at. Let me know where you're watching the games. If there ain't any watch parties that I'm invited to. All right, and everybody that's going to be going out to the parade, please be safe. Please be safe. Remember, it's a day of nonviolence. Let's put the guns away. I don't want to hear about no fatalities. I don't want to hear about no shootings, no robberies. None of that. Monday, come on, y'all. It should be a good day for the city. Let's not ruin it. All right? And with that said, your boy, Chuck Diesel, is out. Remember, it's all about the youth. Hey.